Okay, great.
Yeah. So thank you all for coming. My name is Michael Ball, and I'm a hypnotist / hypnotherapist. And this presentation, I called it Reprogramming the Mind Like a Computer Using Hypnosis, because the mind is actually has a lot of similarities with how computers have manifested and how people have built them. And there's a lot of people here at SteemFest that are really good with computers, and they can reprogram them, and they know code, they know about bugs, and there's a lot of similarities between the two. So today the point that I would like to get across is that we can change any part of ourselves at any time. Our societies accept pretty easily that if you work out and you build muscle, then you're stronger, and then you can do that same workout again. But it doesn't so much talk about changing the mind, strengthening it, and if it does, it usually is only on a conscious level, and it doesn't really talk about the subconscious and how to access that and change it. And the subconscious is basically a deeper part of the mind, a lot like coding. You know, the coding is what creates the interface, and we interact with only the interface. So the interface would be the conscious mind. It's a small part compared to the coding, which is what really is creating everything. So this is what Google Images thinks hypnosis is. A lot of people misunderstand it. That's why this is a funny thing. And it shows a lot about how people don't really know what it is, and it's basically a tool to access the subconscious in a waking state. A lot of people dream, so that's a good example of what the subconscious mind is. It has a different language in itself, just like a computer has a language of its own. So it's basically a tool just to access it, almost like a command line, I guess. You're just accessing the coding, and hypnosis is just accessing that part of yourself. And all hypnosis is just self-hypnosis, so it's really you accessing that. And if there's a hypnotist or hypnotherapist, they're really just a guide more for your process of self-hypnosis. So here's what Google thinks hypnosis is, and it's kind of true, but and the funny thing about that is it's all an old ideas that continue. And because hypnosis, even the name means sleep, and it's not really that. It's more a waking state that you connect to your subconscious. Sleeping, you go into a deeper state and you're not necessarily aware of everything. But in the state of hypnosis, you're even more aware than in your conscious mind, because you're using a lot more of your capacity power. So there are many different ways that people have described hypnosis over time. Dave Ellman was a leading hypnotist, and he was in the 1950s, and he led the movement of making people more aware about it. And he says that hypnosis is a state of mind in which the critical faculty of the human is bypassed and selective thinking is established. And it's essentially just planning the positive aspects that whatever person would want to change. Because if something's, using a computer analogy again, if something's in the coding, it will continue over and over again if it's an automated program. And a lot of us have that in our lives. We have automated programs running that we don't even know are. And those things are created between a combination of emotions, ideas, and our environment. And a lot of the time when we're young, the environment and our parents and whoever else we interact with, it makes programs, because when we're about 3, up to the age of 3 or 4, we're always in our subconscious. So we're just absorbing everything and mirroring everything around us. And yeah, there's a lot of different perspectives on hypnosis and definitions. But hypnosis is real. It's a naturally occurring state that happens all the time. And basically, when you read a book and you realize that so much time went by, you went into a trance state. And just, you were completely immersed in that. And it's kind of that's a waking trance state. And there's different depths of trance. And some are light. But really the biggest changes can be made in the subconscious mind. And like I was saying before, the hypnotist makes a social contract with, it's like a social contract or a smart contract, where basically the hypnotist is saying, at this moment, then you go into your subconscious mind. And then the person, either if they are doing that and open to it, then they will. And then if not, you can resist it as much as possible. It's not really true, any control. So, yeah. And yeah, hypnotists can't make anybody do anything that goes against their moral code, basically because it's usually they just come out of the trance, or they just wait until the next positive suggestion comes along. So there's really no danger of that either, like some people think. And you are completely aware during hypnosis. It's a waking state within your subconscious mind. So it's just a different perspective, a lot like looking at the code in the computer. It's a way different perspective of what the interface comes out to be, when the graphics actually come up. But the coding is really the way to change it all. And if you're just interacting with the interface, you're not changing everything on a permanent level. It's just a temporary change. So the conscious mind is really a small aspect of all of it. And it's like, some people say 10%, some people say the subconscious is 90% used all the time, but those percentages are off. But definitely for sure, the subconscious mind is the strong house. Anytime the conscious fights the subconscious, it will always win. Like when you have negative talk since you're young and you're saying these same negative things to yourself, nobody chooses to be negative towards themselves. It's not a choice. It's more an accidental, automated program, again, that they created accidentally, and it just continues. Or another good example is basically when a person says anything bad about themselves, or they feel that their reality is constantly being created in that way. So if you say to them, if they think they're dumb, and you say to them they're smart, that's not believable. And their conscious mind will fight that, because their whole reality of what they've experienced has proved to them that that's what they are. So that's why it's important to reach the subconscious mind, because it's more open to positive suggestions than the conscious, because even if that's not the reality for the conscious, the subconscious will take it as that. And it never forgets anything, the subconscious. And you pretty much, all your memories that you have and experienced, you can access all of those. It's just in your subconscious mind. Consciously, we can't remember that much at one time. We have to filter things out, just because it's just too much. So it all goes to the subconscious eventually. There's a transferring process. The conscious mind is a logical and analytical perspective. It has reason, and it's like, this is how things are. This is what it is. I'm not changing this. And to really change it, you really have to go through a process of accessing the subconscious mind in some way. Otherwise, a person's ideas won't change, and they'll fight any opposing ideas. That's actually one of the things that drew me to Steam. It was the critical thinking was a little bit higher than some other social media sites. Yeah, and but the critical thinking is important, because if you have a mindset where anything opposed to your idea is immediately wrong, then you can't grow. And that's essentially a subconscious mind program where this is my reality and I'll fight it, anything that's not that. So that's why it's important to change the subconscious. The conscious mind rejects ideas, if it's not proven to be true within that person's reality. And that will happen forever. You can tell on debates online. The debates online really prove that. Yeah. The subconscious mind is the emotional mind, and it thinks only in present time. So it thinks now. Everything's happening now. And the conscious mind's linear. It thinks past, present, future. But subconscious mind takes everything as a now moment, and it receives positive suggestions better, so you can really have it happening in that moment. And it's like code. When it's written, then it manifests. And it's the same way with that. If you write code within the subconscious mind, it manifests if it's according to the person's desires. And usually the subconscious mind accepts suggestions if it's emotionally exciting and positive, because it's really just attracted to the now and something that's fun or healthy for the person. And basically, it's important for all of us to know that we can change ourselves at any time. And it's really just a matter of bypassing the conscious mind, our talk that we make to ourselves when we say our life is in a certain way and we want it to be different, but we keep on doing the things that aren't that, and we don't know why. Like, this is the same thing with addiction and habits that we don't like, but why do we keep on doing them? And that's really just because subconsciously it's connecting to us in a certain way, and there's a certain program or a habit that we've built. And the best way to do that is to access the subconscious by making almost like a backdoor in computer talk, where you actually have a way of accessing, the computer when you're doing the coding. I think it's just easier to get back in some way, like having a method to access. I don't know too much about computers, so this doesn't work fully, but one of the ways to do that is through counting down backwards, and you can do this for yourself. You just set the intention that when I count down to this number, then I go into this state. And it helps to experience hypnosis first from somebody, or at least for me it did, because I didn't really know what it was at all. And so I couldn't do that myself. But then as I really opened up to it and connected to it, I realized how much of a change it can make with anything. Any idea I had that was something that I didn't want to do, or if I wanted to grow this way, I would just go into the state of hypnosis and then have those suggestions made to me in that moment. And it changed me. So that's pretty much it. And just wanted to explain what hypnosis is, and that's really just a tool for accessing the mind. If there's any questions, I would love to answer them, because I might have not gone over some things. So, yeah, feel free to ask anything about hypnosis. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for listening, and I appreciate it. And I like how everyone's so open here. I had one person say, I would love to try hypnosis, but my kidney's not that strong. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, and I got 4 upvotes. And I was like, oh man, well, I really need to explain what it really is. Because it has nothing to do with the kidneys at all. That's the first time I've ever, it was either kidney or liver. And the 4 upvotes too, like, yeah, protect your kidney. And it's not like that. And I was like, what? It has nothing to do with kidney or liver. It's just connected to the mind, but it can affect any part of the body too, because essentially the mind is connected to the body and it seeks the signals. It's the autonomous system that, like our heartbeat, we don't choose that consciously. That's a subconscious thing. So anything we don't choose, we can change it by accessing the subconscious. So thanks again, and let's enjoy the Snookers thing. I'm down for game. Thanks, I appreciate it.
There's one question here.
Oh, yes.
But I'll just ask. Well, first of all, the relationship between kidney damage and hypnosis is really well understood. But
Of course, yeah. I would like to hear about that later.
We all understand that, right? But you might be familiar with NLP, and I've just read a little bit about it. But what is the relationship between hypnosis and NLP? Or
It's actually a lot the same. NLP basically, there's like a crossover there in the middle, and NLP is essentially reading the body language, and then it does use trance states sometimes. But that's why when you see shows about NLP, like the liars and the guys using NLP to detect if he's lying or not. So it's reading the body in a conscious state, but seeing the subconscious little minute things that the person does, and it shows that he's lying basically, because we can't really lie. Like, we know when we're lying, and we will show it some way or another. And so NLP does use trance states too, but hypnosis focuses mostly on just accessing the subconscious mind to make changes that the person desires or wants, especially stopping habits or anything like that. And NLP also adds the reading the body language of the subconscious mind. So that's a really good question, actually. I don't fully know the difference, but that's my understanding of it. Yes?
There's a lot of hype now of people that want to try and help people be more mindful.
Yeah.
And sort of what is the difference in sort of what the person does that helps someone be more mindful and just drop to a deeper level of sensing what they really feel?
Right. Yeah, so meditation, the way, this is just me, I see meditation making a bridge between the conscious and the subconscious, like at the same time almost. And you can drop into trance states with meditation where your subconscious mind activates more, but in my experience, I haven't. It's kind of like a balancing the two sides. And hypnosis, it's more like, if you really access a deep trance, your conscious mind it's like dreaming almost, and you just go into this, for me the first time it was this floating state, and I was just floating and aware of everything around me, but it was really amazing. I had a lot of resistance too, just because I had ideas that weren't true, which was funny. Yeah, it was funny. But what was your question again, like specifically? Yeah.
Also how a lot of people say they feel when they first manage to meditate, perhaps also with the assistance of
Yeah, actually, and they probably, like, after a certain point, I think you do reach a trance state through meditation. Mantras are doing that for the, Krishna's chanting, or mantras. And when they're chanting it, it puts you in a trance state. Like, there's certain things that really activate the subconscious mind. And being a hypnotist or a hypnotherapist is knowing those things and then helping guide people into this state. So it is actually a form of mindfulness, and it is a lot like meditation, with the same goals in a different way and different uses almost. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, sure. Why didn't you say something about the more, direct methods like sigilization or hypersigils and stuff like that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat your question?
Why didn't you talk about more direct ways to do this thing, like sigilization?
Yeah, visualization.
No, not visualization. The sigil. You transfer an idea into a visual pictogram, and then you activate it and stuff like that, like meditating on it and stuff.
Oh, like staring?
Sigil. It's called S-I.
I guess I don't know that term.
I-L. Oh, okay.
What is it?
The same as you described about how it works. You take a phrase and then you remove all the vowels, remove all the repeat consonants.
That is okay. So that's accessing the subconscious mind too.
Yes. And then you modify the remaining letters into a picture.
That's what that is. It's creating subliminal messages or a message to the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is aware of everything that's happening all at once, and consciously we just focus on one thing. And you can tell that when you look at your hand. If you're just looking at your hand, there is still a background, and you are still seeing that, but consciously you're not. But subconsciously you're registering everything that's happening. So the seagull essentially is hiding those messages that the subconscious mind recognizes, and it puts you into that state. So yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but okay.
I mean, I'll answer your question.
To answer the question, to understand like a sigil, like you basically said, it's a symbol used to access the conscious mind.
Yes.
Take the conscious part out of the symbol, what it would mean to you consciously, and you make it something that doesn't mean anything to you consciously. But that sigil becomes a symbol that activates something in the conscious mind.
Yeah.
And it made me think of a question that I had for you as far as talking about putting your own self in a hypnotic state.
Right.
But dealing with it being a different language, your subconscious using the language of symbols usually, that's different.
It does.
You have problems with being receptive to the messages you're trying to give your subconscious because you're coming up with those in your conscious and not necessarily using the same language.
Yeah, actually, why I didn't talk too much about self-hypnosis instead of just that hypnosis is just a tool is because I haven't fully reached the state to where I can hypnotize myself. I can record myself and then play it back to myself, and that's like the perfect thing for what I do. But it is like floating, and you have to from what I've been studying, you have to focus on a simple symbol or message or word, and you just, once you go into the trance state, then you kind of just, I don't have enough experience because I haven't quite reached that level yet.
No, that makes sense for sure.
I can just do it for other people. And recording myself. Yeah. Any other questions? Do you have a question? Okay. Well, thank you so much. I'm ballinconcious. Yeah.